G'day, good welcome. My name is Damon Bramich, and with me today is Sifu Matt Stampe from Washington, D.C., as we take a journey on through the history and training methods of Tai Chi Chuan and Taoist exercises. And today we're going to talk about frame and structure and a few other little elements in that area. And Matt, welcome. Great to see you. How you been? You training hard?
Yes, I just got done training myself.
Yeah.
Um,
How many forms did you do this morning?
only do one. I'm only doing one, but I'm trying to do it with the mindfulness, so it's taking a little bit longer to do in the normal time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also, I'm still, I've been doing. I need to invigorate myself in terms of cardio, so I've been doing like quarter mile runs and 50-yard dash sprints to kind of
Okay.
just invigorate me, to warm
Yep.
me up to do some stretching, doing some stretches, and then I'll go into my Tai Chi form as my warm down in my day practice. So
Okay, excellent,
mm.
excellent. We've been talking the last month on Tai Chi frame. So small, medium, and large frame. Ideas of how they come about, why people are so obsessed with the frame, and maybe some of the history around why the frame is different in different styles and why there's a focus on frame when we really should be focusing on the total practice within ourselves, things like this. So just refresh my memory a little bit about the frame articles you've been
um
reading.
so I kind of gave the community a little hint by doing a post on the Yang Family Tai Chi group talking about how the large frame gives you all the strength, stamina, the stances, the deep work while you're young. So you train big, so when it comes to fight, you're fighting small. And that the middle frame is more for an older player. They're refining their skills, they're working with their age, they're rolling with the punches. They can't do the deep stances, the large frame anymore, but they can modify and refine their form to a more middle size.
Yes, yes. I really like that saying, train big, fight small. Train big, fight small. So it's a kind of interesting analogy. I think this analogy goes across all martial arts. So, in the sense that training big is going to give you the body mechanics and the physicality. When I throw a nice long jab, hook, overhand right, and all this sort of movement, I'm creating range and distance. So, when we're talking about fighting small, we're talking about the close contact elements of fighting small. So it could be grappling, but I think when we're looking at Tai Chi, we also have an element of tai Chi boxing. So imagine I'm in a clinch, and that's my movement out of the clinch. Okay, I do tame the tiger. I do an overhand right. I do an upcut, pump, this sort of movement, but it's all driven by the mechanism that is learned from training large. So the body mechanics, the movement of the waist, the connection of the Jin Li Dian, the connection of Chan Si Jing, the connection of upper and lower together, okay, internal and external, how these things work together to unify the body. The sad thing is that we cannot get any of these mechanisms if we just focus on small body movement Tai Chi. It doesn't matter whether we're moving in a way, we're all this movement and we're doing all this wiggly stuff here and there. This is no good. Okay. It might help you if someone puts you in a bear hug. Okay. But really it's a struggle. And when I look at this as a martial sense and a Gung practice, I have to learn how to do yin and yang together. So, as I was taught in the lineage that I have, is that I had to train long and low and learn my body mechanics and learn how to get the movement of my body and these elements first, and I think when we look at, say, someone like Yang Hu, we often say he's large frame. He's a big guy, but large frame is the lead leg is parallel to the ground. Okay, playing on the table. Now, historically, they talk about this young Bao playing under the table. You know, it was certainly the way that I was taught from Fu Zhong Wen. All right, and after, when you gain the physicality of this, and it's when I say physicality, I'm not meaning external. I'm meaning the whole body, how it responds inside and outside together, how you gain that connection, cross-bridge connection with the internal, external as one. But once you get to a certain level, the small part of Tai Chi has to be amalgamated with the large frame. So the Jin Li Liang and the Chen Si Jin, so small Jin, large Jin, they need to be united together. And when you unite these together, you have a Qigong element, which is the Tai Chi needle. So we're able to have the full Taoist type breathing regime develops into the body. We have more the microcosmic and the macrocosmic orbits working, the belt channels are moving energy, so we're rotating and moving the dantian. These things are developed. We have bone narrowing Gong that develops because of the leverage and the way we use gravity. We have muscle tendon washing. We have elastifying effects in the fascia. These things all happen, and from the way that I was taught and the approach to different levels of frame is really more about medium frame being something more to the master or the person that starts learning in that old age, meaning the master, that as they get older, they're going to come in a little bit more, they're going to be a bit more relaxed, their physical body's changing so they don't push themselves as much. And a small frame is really the way that I would be teaching someone who is much later in life. So using the frame to match the person's capability and what they're after, in my mind, is the real essence of Tai Chi. I'm not sure how you feel about those statements, but
Yeah, I do. Even like the in the Chinese medicine they say the brain and they call it the sea of qi. And so you mentioned like the Yi Jin Jin kind of idea, like the muscle tendon and the bone marrow Neigong, the bone marrow flowing and developing, creating the stronger bones. So the other practice is called something like Ji Shui Jin, and it's the other classic from Shaolin of the brainwashing. But it's not brainwashing. It's called the brain's called sea of marrow, so it's a marrow washing. But that's because you're stimulating your endocrine system, which is making you have the all the good like the dopamine, the neurotransmitters, serotonin, adrenaline, all these internal chemicals flowing as well, and that helps stabilize your moods, get your mind at a better state of concentration. You're changing the wave frequencies. I think the deepest one is something called gamma. It's like the serotonin. Like they're actually measuring the different levels of these different like serotonin, dopamine, acetylcholine, um, norepinephrine, which is just adrenaline. So they're measuring these different chemicals flowing in the body, and a lot of those help deal with pain and inflammation.
Let's come back to that. And I think the brainwashing is the stimulating movement of the cerebral spinal fluid.
Correct.
So the connection, and this is really, really important, and this is probably way out of the scope for some people, is why Ming Man is so important. Why do we have to have the pump working, Ming Man? Why does it have to open and close? Why do we need to sit in the pelvis? Because this starts a pulse, like you said, a wave, a connection. It starts to pulse and move the spinal fluid better. So it starts washing through the brain. Okay. It
That pulse has
cleanses.
something like a 12-minute cycle. I think it's like 12-minute to 17-minute cycle.
That's for a full circulation, but it's like like we have the heart moves the blood, but then we have body movement moves the lymph. But body movement also helps move all circulation. And I sent you a little article, or I think a video the other day on the calf muscles. Okay. And Sifu used to say this, you know, the importance of the legs, upper and lower legs, the unification in the movement of upper and lower legs in accordance with yin and yang will improve all circulation. And now we have a middle part that pulses, pushes, and it harmonizes the nervous system and the endocrine system. So you get a better balance and release of all these wonderful things in the body. And it is important for things like pain management. Extremely, extremely important. Now, you can experience this if you've worked with pain management. One of the theories is that exercise elicits the hormonal response and it will reduce your pain. Okay, so you get a euphoric type thing. And this is really, really excellent stuff. And you talked to me the other day a little bit about the Chinese connection to the muscles, the tendons, the bones, how they
Okay.
interact with the nervous system, everything. Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I tell some of my Tai Chi people that are too sedentary that they need to do a little bit of invigorating exercise of what we call physical or external training, conditioning, because you want to invigorate the fire system in Oriental medicine is a circulation system. You want to invigorate the heart and the blood vessels. The water element is when you're exercising, you're moving water, you're moving sweat.
Yes.
When you're jogging, doing something a little bit more invigorating, you're working the air in the body. You're invigorating the breath, which is fundamentally the chi. Chi is really breath. And then what else? Getting the muscles and bones working, invigorating that. Muscles, bone, and tendon. And I think there's a couple more areas, but those are the main ones I can think of right now in relation to like 5-element theory. And the nervous system is kind of associated with liver and wood, but so is tendon and fascia. The muscles is associated with spleen in the Oriental medicine. The lungs are more associated to the skin. I talked about the sweating or opening the pores for the water. The kidneys is the bones. The heart would be the
circulation,
cardiovascular. Now, when we say cardiovascular, we also mean lymph too, because that is part of the circulatory system. What does the frames have anything to do with Gong?
Oh, I think the frame and the Gong are very much intertwined here. So as I mentioned just a moment ago, is that to get Tai Chi Niggle, first, what is Niggle? So that's the internal workings that we would relate to Taoist exercise or Taoist internal practice.
Like the elixir,
reverse breathing, bone marrow qigong, tendon muscle washing, you know, streaming of the qi through the organs, etc., etc. So what we need is to work within a frame system. How do we achieve that? And from my experience and from what was handed me direct from the Yang family, that can be only attained in the large form. So one needs to have these elements of yin and yang. We need it large and small together. We need the physical aspect of Kung Fu move like a great river. And we also need the serenity, stillness within the mind to achieve this. If I'm concentrating, using my mind, and I'm concentrating on these things inside, I can't fulfill the principles. And that's a really, really essential thing to look at, i.e., where is my Jin Li Dian and my martial mind? I have to create two things simultaneously together. It's the same as I have to create up and down together. I have to create firmness within relaxation. These are all yin and yang together. So in a large frame, I'm going to move in a way that is more balanced to developing the bone marrow niggle aspect, the muscle tendon washing. Also, I'm going to stoke the fire. I'm going to create internal heat. Okay, so by the movement of the dantian, so the dantian rolling and pushing, the connection of the third harmony, the hips and shoulder, then the connection of the second harmony, the knees and the elbows, and the first one, which is the wrist and the ankles. So all these harmonies need to be worked together. And then we have the 10 points. So if you want Tai Chi Nigu, you need to learn large and its small components inside. Now, its small components aren't the wiggling here and there. You have to have your Tai Chi aids continuously, one thing after another after another. Can I achieve this in a middle frame? You achieve something, but you're not going to get to the highest level that you would in a large frame. Can I achieve something in small frame? Yes, of course, but you're going to miss many, many layers and many, many elements of this. You won't have any of the martial skills to stop someone pushing through you. You're not going to be able to have that clarity of solid and empty. You're not going to be able to move and open and expand and create the bellows working properly. You're not going to have this ability to be big, using the waist, letting it all relax and collapse down, and then open. So this is how we develop the fire underneath, the fire that we need underneath the dantian. It has to be achieved in large frame, and large frame connected with small frame. So we have small Jin, large Jin, has to be connected together. How do we achieve this? Is first we need to learn where in space and time is put. How do we get our timing? How do we start compressing all the chi into the bones? And as you may know yourself, every time you do instruction with me, what do you feel in those legs?
You know, the Jin is kind of like the mirror washing classic of the brain, and you're getting all those hormones in the cerebral spinal fluid moving, you know, the dopamines, the serotonins, the adrenalines. You get all these chemicals harmonized, and washing the brain, it makes you feel better. That would I would equivalent that to like the elixir that they're trying to form
Yes.
in these Taoist Neidan practices.
Yes, I like that word, elixir field is very, very appropriate. And, you know, if you're watching this, and we're not saying not to practice Tai Chi small. We're not saying that not to practice at medium size. When I'm talking, I'm just coming from a position where I'm seeking optimal procedure. I want to make it best for myself. If you don't have the ability and the strength and the salmon knowledge, it's okay to practice small. And when it comes to teaching Tai Chi, my approach in school is medium and smallish Tai Chi, because a lot more people are in their older age bracket, so they're not seeking Kung Fu, they're only seeking better health. And there's nothing wrong with this. It's just like, it's okay, but Tai Chi is not just training. Tai Chi is all the other things about it. The frame is just a visual observation, more to do with the length of your stride, maybe the movements that you have, that you're moving, that is very tight, and kind of wiggling the body. And
Like for me, the frame is like the vocabulary of like the structure, the principles, and the infinite ways of using the 13 powers or 13 energies, so that you do it so many times it becomes a reflex without thought. It just, the response is natural,
yes,
and but it has that foundation from practicing the frame so many times with the deep mindfulness.
I think you just put the nail on there, just boom, with that, because most definitely the frame is not that structure. The frame is everything that you need to use. It's our framework.
So it ends up being formless the way it comes out in response,
Hmm.
because it comes from an infinite
Hmm.
possibility of responding.
And that's an interesting thing, because I read some comments today, and it was about, you need to be formless in your application. Well, that's correct. But here's this irony: in fighting, we need to have form. We practice form to be formless in the interaction of that. It's not the other way around. We can't practice the form, i.e. the Tai Chi form, formless. It needs to have form and structure. There's elements of compliance. There's elements of steps you need to do. We need to learn to be able to be present and move within a form and structure. But when it happens naturally, and your natural response is formless.
And that technique has to be correct and precise if you're going to put power and speed into it. It has to have the proper mechanics, or it's going to be off balance and not function at all.
Exactly, exactly. So Sifu would say, you know, when you're striking a person, is that you aim small, miss small. If I want to pop you on the nose, I need to get you. I need to go for that little bit there, you know, and if I miss, I hit you. It's like, it's still fine, but it's happens in Japanese martial arts. We talk about Bushido. It's perfection. So when I come into Tai Chi with my teacher, he would talk about your Tai Chi needs to be perfect. You need to learn it perfect. So then you can do things like train big, fight small. Your natural response to someone's push or punch or kick can be infinite. It matches everything. You don't go around thinking, oh, if someone throws a jab, I'm going to do a block, I'm going to do a wrist lock, I'm going to pull them in, I'm going to push them away. It doesn't work like that. There's that famous quote by Mike Tyson, you know, everyone's got a plan till they're punched in the head.
Mhm.
And we can't approach this, kind of getting off the track a little bit, but let's come back to frame and the importance of teaching frame sizes in your school is to help people, is to build up strength, build up persons can build up their connection with themselves, is to help them improve their circulation, their breathing, their stance. Maybe they have falls issues to reduce falls or have fall protection, you know, to help them recover from diabetes or help them to manage their Parkinson's or, you know, the hundreds and hundreds of different ailments and chronic illnesses we have. Use your frame to help people, not use your frame to attack someone on social media and say they're
Some
right.
of the some of the more things that are starting to come out now when it comes to like the fast frames or the usage frame or application frame, however you want to call it, is more of these videos are showing up on YouTube, but there's none very consistent. They're all doing very different things. Like the Tang family's doing one thing, the Imperial Yang people are doing another thing, the Wu Tunan folks are doing something, the Tin Jialin people are doing a completely different thing. Nothing seems to be consistent. There's
Mm,
no, they're all very different looking things. Even the Chen Palchui, very different.
mm, mm,
Everyone's
mm,
second form, usage form, whatever,
mm.
they're all very different things.
This is a big topic. We need to have this
Mhm.
discussion, but maybe we can spend a few minutes on there. And I think what is really evident is time of dissemination, like the real truth,
Mhm.
the amount of other things people did.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, you were just reading me an article written about Fu Zhong Wen.
Mhm.
And maybe you can share this again, that little quote that you're reading from one of the other masters. And here we have Chen Wei Ming saying a very similar thing. So what was that quote you had there before that?
No living person spent more time with Yang Cheng Fu than Master Fu Zhong Wen, so we must consider his gestures the most correct. Fu Zhong Wen changed nothing of his uncle's teaching, and Fu Zhong Wen was tested many times as he accepted all challenges for his uncle in those days where it could be fatal.
And who wrote that?
Zhang Luping in Tai Chi
Mm,
Magazine,
yeah, yeah.
1990.
It's an interesting thing because, you know, as a practitioner and a devotee of the Yang family, you're aware of my connection to the
Mhm.
family.
Mhm.
And I see a lot of these things that are written and posted and ignored. Now, Fu Zhong Wen, when I started Tai Chi, this we're talking in the 80s, that line of Tai Chi had both branches, clearly both branches, you know. Qigong was trained by Yang Banhao's son, you know, from a young person. Um, Yang Li Chen had three sons. One of them is completely omitted from the family, but he trained with Yang Li Chen's other grandson. I can't think of the name offhand, but we'll write it down for sure. So just coming back to that, is that Fu Zong Wen trained with Yang Qin Ha as a young boy. He trained with all the Yang family members. Uh, he married into the Yang family. His brother-in-law is Zhao Bin. You know, his brother was a disciple of Yang Chen as well. Um, Fu Zong Wen trained with Xiao Hao. He trained with Yang Chen. He went and assisted Yang Chen in the development of the schools in Shanghai and the rest of China. Was his role in the family. And I'm not going
Yang
to say
Xiaopeng as well.
yeah, who's better and who's not better, but I do see the clear pattern is that the people that left the country early ignored some of these facts when they talked about the Yang family.
Mhm.
And then there's a lot of stuff said, you know, that it's the government way, it's the communist way, you know, it's the modified form. Now, hang on. The modified form is what Yang Chen Hu taught to the public.
Mhm.
That is the modified form. He took out the fudging. He took out the deep, long stances. Okay. And 99.9% of the people that learn from Yang Pu in the 20s got the modified form. How do we know this? We only have to see that they don't turn on the solid leg, that they pull their upper body back, they don't follow the qua, open qua, the 10 principles aren't followed properly. There's no Jin
Shifting.
Liang, there's no Chan Jing, there's so many elements. It is a modified health version.
It's for
And
the
it's not the
gentry
other way around. Yes.
to not
Yes, and
hurt their knees, I think.
100%. And is that okay? It's perfectly fine, but just look at it for what it is. And that's the end of the day. Where's all the kung fu? Where's all these Yang family, Yang Manchurian type kung fu movements? And there is some videos, you know, why is Fu Zhong Wen's Fa Jing in his 80s a scale above everyone's? You know, this man is in his 80 years old. He moves so much better. And the
He's still
classical.
standing wide too. If you look at him, he's still standing in a pretty big stance when he's using those poles.
Look, you met him, he's solid as everything. All my Kung Fu brothers that trained with him. I never trained with him. Okay, I was student. I had the opportunity and I chose to go looking for other things. And I was already a student of his son. I didn't see the relevance of practicing with the father at this time, and that's okay. But without saying this way is the only way, or that way is the only way, and that way is the only way, we need to just understand truth about the family and the child's culture and the family connection to each other, and why would they want to share the goodies with someone outside who's not going to care for them in their later life and be there and do the things that they need to do in regards to the family, like a son would. And this is just normal culture. This is that culture. And if you get in the door, and then that is a true gift. True gift. And from my position now is that we need to stop talking about this person like this and this person like that, and this person likes this and this person like that, and this person did 5 challenges and this person, you know, was the adopted child of this person, or this person treated me like a son, or it's like, really, are you so insecure and you're so incompetent with your style that you have to create stories? You know, it's so obvious to see your depth of training. And it's a real tragedy. We're not working together. And this is interesting,
Some people are going from Zhong Wen standing to the fast form with no long form in between. And then when you see them do the long form, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so disconnected looking.
I think what some of the problem is that when you don't know, when you haven't been taught apart properly, and this whole reason of why you do a proper apprenticeship. Okay, apprenticeship in many trades was 20 years. And when I did my apprenticeship, I'm a boilermaker welder by trade, you know, metal engineering. And, you know, that was only 4 years. And I never learned all the things I needed to go out there in real life. You keep learning, you know, your 20 years is a real game changer. When you learn something in the art of mastering it, it's a real game changer. Now, that opportunity has not been there for just about every person on the planet. And when we don't have proper teaching and proper education, we start to thinking we understand. And the thinking of we understand, we start to taking things from here and start taking things there. And instead of having a bowl of apples, we have a bowl of mixed fruit. And you do acupuncture. It's like you spend all these 5 years in the learning, and now you go out in the real world, and now you really learn. You really start to see what it works, what doesn't work. And you have to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into practice to understand. And if I talked about my massage and my body work, it was the same. It was really after 20 years, I was in the position where I could do the proper assessment, I could do everything, I got an understanding of how it works. But we have a Tai Chi system that has no real continuing education. You can become a master in a weekend, or you, like that saying we had, I woke up this morning and I decided to be a Tai Chi master.
Yeah. Or my other favorite one is, look, Mom, I'm enlightened.
So if we just come from the places with all this frames and who taught this and who taught that, our base goal should be just helping people. Okay, a side shoot is helping someone develop self-defense. Okay, if someone wants to attain some spiritual aspects of Tai Chi, then we should be working towards building someone's spirituality. Okay, in a balanced, harmonious way. Do what's best for the client, do what's best for the students, and work within their limitations and their expectations. Anything else you want to add?
Yes. One more quote. When Yang was older, Fu Zhong Wen took all of his uncle's challengers. It is significant that none ever got past him. He is a true master, a national treasure, most knowledgeable and deep when it comes to Yang style Tai Chi Chuan.
Yes. Yes, and I think
I
Chen
should
Wei
have put that
Ming,
one. Yeah.
Chen Wei Ming summed this up. Okay, the 1944, 1954, he wrote the letter. So if people don't know, Chen Wei Ming was Yang Chenpu's first disciple. Now he took that disciple around 1919, 1920. Okay, Chen Wei Ming met Yang Chenpu after his father passed away. When we look at the first book written about Yang Tai Chi, Chen Wei Ming's book, and the second book, there is a huge change in this, and it shows the second book was the health book. And the thing that comes to mind is the writing on single whip, and single whip clearly says turn on a solid leg in Chen Wei Ming's book. In the second book, they shift the weight to the rear leg and turn on the empty leg. Now, this is defining with our arms. You can only develop Tai Chi Kung Fu, Tai Chi Ni Wu, Jin Li Liang, Chan Se Jin, okay, Han Jin, Qin Ling Jin, Jiang Xing, all from turning the solid. And we're not talking about all the other jins in the Tai Chi aid and the other extra jins. The turning on the solid leg is the defining thing. And that is just opens the door to how you move, how you connect solid and empty. Okay. And I like the word solid and empty more than relaxed. You have to create an empty space. In a martial arts context, you need to create what I will call a drop-fall situation where the person loses mechanical balance. Mechanical balance being they've gone into a place of leverage where they have to brace to maintain erect structure without teetering or falling. And this is enormous stuff. And we flow straight back into the importance of large frame. If you don't have large frame, you can be drawn into a position of instability when you learn the ability to apply emptiness or creating a drop-fall situation. Drop-fall situations, this is gravity. It falls at the fastest speed of gravity. If you create this in somebody, they cannot gather, they cannot apply force. So we might wind up the talk now, hey? Thanks for joining, everyone. Don't forget you can like, subscribe, and share. And please leave your comments below. And if you want us to talk about any subjects and you've got some ideas, you know, by all means, flick one of us a message on Facebook or on YouTube comments. And we'll see you again. Take it easy. Practice hard. Enjoy.